Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
What's good, y'all? It's your man, Hezo, and welcome back to the Blacktop, where I always got next, you feel me? Hey, man, I don't have any words, man. This team is soft. This team is soft. There's no other way to put it. That was one of the most pathetic second halves I have ever watched out of any team. This was against one of the worst teams in basketball. You have a 24-point lead or 22-point lead at halftime, and then you blow it in the second half. And the Hawks really, they lost this game in the third quarter. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Drop a like on the video. We got a lot to dive into for this one, man, like I always say. And let's get right into it. This game was supposed to be a must-win and a gimme game for the Hawks, but I mean, really, let's be honest. No game is a gimme game for the Hawks at this point because we're just mid. We're so mid, and it's time to accept it. I've been accepted it. This game right here is a prime example of what separates average teams from good teams and good teams from great teams. We are an average team. There's just no other way to slice it. You have a 22-point lead at the half, a 24-point lead late in the, or not late in the game, I'm sorry, but at the start of the third quarter because of all that Clint Capella alley-oop. It got pushed to 24, and then it was all Spurs in the second half. First half, it looked like Atlanta was about to run away with this game. I mean, midway through the second quarter, Atlanta was getting pretty much everything they wanted on offense. The bench played outstanding in the first half. AJ Griffin, Bogey, and Double O were doing pretty much everything they could to make up for the lack of production from the starters tonight because our starters just could not really get it going. Devin Vassell, man, he played incredible all night long. He had a great first half. He had a great second half. He was absolutely cooking, especially when it got to that third quarter. But even in the first half, whenever Devin Vassell was playing pretty well, Atlanta was still able to knock down shots and get easy offense because the Spurs are one of the worst, if not the worst, defensive team in basketball. We had a season-high 83 points in a half, which it was a complete opposite in the second half. I just don't understand how it just drastically changes. Hawks led by 22 in the break. It looked like we were really going to coast to a win tonight. And the second half was just a complete disaster. I've never seen such a big collapse against a poor team. Like, this team is not good. If it happened against a contender, okay, I get it. But this is one of the worst teams in the league. We're fighting for our playoff life, and you come out in the second half against this Spurs team, and you let Devin Vassell go crazy, you let Keldon Johnson go crazy. And again, shout out to those guys, man, because they played their heart out. They were out hustling, they were playing with more energy, and the Hawks just looked soft. They were getting just everything went the Spurs' way in the second half, and everything went wrong for the Hawks in the second half. They showed no fight, no toughness, no energy, no effort in the entire second half. They got blitzed in the third quarter. And like I said, Atlanta lost this game in the third quarter. Once San Antonio went on that big run to cut it down to a single-digit game, I knew it was over. Like, I had a feeling. I just had a bad feeling that we was going to blow the game like we've seen from this team in the past where we blow big leads and the Spurs were going to climb back and ultimately come back and win this game. And that's what we saw. You cannot give a team momentum and confidence after trailing down 24 in a game. At home, you cannot let a team like that climb back into the game. This is a team who was up 29 points on Friday night against the Grizzlies and blew it. We did the exact thing that the Spurs just did on Friday night. The only difference is the Spurs are expected to do something like that because they're one of the worst teams in basketball. This Hawks team is so soft. And Spurs fans, let me tell you, Spurs fans are laughing at the Hawks right now because of the DeJounte trade. It keeps looking worse and worse as the season goes on and comes to a close because, let's be honest, man, like DeJounte, yeah, he had like 22, 25 points, whatever he had. He didn't play well, man. I don't care what anybody says. DeJounte didn't play well tonight. He was not shooting the ball well once again. Yes, he hit some shots, but he had an abysmal fourth quarter. Well, maybe not abysmal, but he didn't have a very good fourth quarter. Trey didn't play well. Dre didn't play well. JC was meh. Like, none of the starters really played well tonight. We got carried by our bench in the first half, like I touched on earlier, even though Sadiq Bey didn't really do anything. I don't even know what more to say, man. Like, this loss was was probably, in my opinion, was the worst loss that I have seen out of our guys this year. And it's just unacceptable. You cannot blow a 24 fucking point lead to one of the worst teams in the league. I can't stress enough, man. I'm so pissed off from this loss because this was a game that we needed to win to start to climb in the standings with the schedule that we have upcoming. It's supposed to be considered a quote-unquote easy schedule, but there is no such thing as an easy schedule for the Hawks, man, because we're mid. We will be a 500 team by the end of the season. We will finish at the 8 or 9 spot. We may lose the first game of the play-in. And even if we make the playoffs, man, it's comical to me that so many of y'all out there legitimately think that we can win a playoff series. What Hawks team are you watching? That's what I want to know. What Hawks team are y'all watching? And I love the confidence, man. I really do. And I'm for the hometown bias and all that. That's cool. But at the end of the day, man, you got to be realistic. We're not winning a first round matchup. We're not. It's come on, man. We can't even beat the Spurs. There's so many games this season that we have lost against some of the worst teams in basketball in the way that we lost. We blew a 19-point lead to the Hornets. We blew a 24-point lead to the Spurs. We blew a 16-point lead to the Rockets. Do I need to go on? Where are y'all seeing that you think that the Hawks can win a first-round playoff matchup when we can't even beat some of the worst teams in the league consistently? Again, shout out to the Spurs, man. I don't want to discredit anything that they did tonight. And Spurs fan, if you watch this video, credit to y'all, man, because the Spurs played with more heart tonight. They played with more energy. Devin Vassell, who I have always liked as a player, he has just an absolute lethal jump shot and can get hot at any minute. He plays tough. Keldon Johnson plays tough. These guys, they have a nice young, really a nice young team. Maybe they get Wembanyama in the draft that'll really turn their franchise around. But the Spurs just outplayed the Hawks in the second half. And it was a tale of two halves. And you cannot get lazy and go out like that against any team in the NBA, because as we all know, the NBA is a game of runs. And we saw that in the second half tonight. And the Hawks just completely collapsed. And again, to me, it was the worst loss of the season for the Hawks. So I don't really have any final takeaways for this game, man. I just want to talk about two. Well, really the final takeaway was the second half collapse. There's really not much more that I can go into because it was a tale of two halves. It was two completely different ball clubs in the first half. In the second half, for the Spurs and for the Hawks, we just saw two opposite teams. The team that the Hawks were in the first half was who the Spurs were in the second half, and that's why they came back and won this game, because they fought and had more heart, had more hustle, had more effort, had more energy. That's why the Spurs won this game. The one takeaway that I did have was I think it's safe to say that Okongwu is ready to take that starting center spot. I think he should have closed the game out tonight for the Hawks. He was playing better defensively. He's a far superior offensive player than Okongwu. He's been great on the offensive glass. He was great on the offensive glass all night long. I think it's safe to say that Clint Capella should be shopped. Will he be? I don't know. But he should be shopped in the offseason. I've been critical of Double O in the past. He's played really well. He had an excellent game tonight, and I think he can maybe take that starting center spot going forward as long as he puts on a little bit of weight, bulks up, and gets a little bit better on the defensive glass, because he's an outstanding offensive rebounder. But I want to see him put on some weight and really be able to bang a little bit more down low, with some of the other centers around the league. I'm going to pretty much leave it there, man. Not really too much more to go into for this one. Not a very long recap, because, to be honest, there really wasn't much to recap about this game. It was just a piss poor performance in the second half, and that's the recap. That's why we lost the game, was because of that second half. I'm done ranting about it, man. I apologize for my energy tonight. Shout out to Spurs fans, man. Y'all deserve to laugh in our face for this one. Hopefully we can bounce back with a win. Drop a like on the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I'm gonna get out of here, man.